We were just on everything, just talking about this like last night. But you know, it's like, nigga, you know me, if Big would have, I told Big I met Pac. Like I would avoid Big's call sometime to that producer's house that I was working with, just on my little bullshit, you know.
I believe she believes that, but I don't believe it. Is that enough? I believe that she believes that that's her story. I believe she believes her story, but I don't believe her story.
Hello everybody and welcome back to What's the Latest. Now, recently former Bad Boy head of security Gene Deal actually spoke about an interview as it relates to Faith Evans. Now, many know that, you know, Tupac before his demise actually alleged that he slept with Faith Evans, who was married to then Biggie Smalls. Now, Biggie, Tupac, once friends, turned rivals after a shooting at Quad City Studios where Tupac was the victim. Blamed Biggie, if not for outright calling the hit, but more so for not being able to give him the information as far as the heads up, knowing who Biggie was around may have had something to do with this shooting. And so that's where Tupac's alleged grievance with Biggie comes from. Now, recently, Gene Deal responded to an interview where Faith was playing like she was just, unaware of, the beef between the two. And ended up going out to LA, she said, to work with the producer writing songs, and actually ran into Tupac in the club, and even said, they can make some music together, still saying she didn't know he was signed to Death Row. Now, Tupac's, to be alive at that time and to be anywhere near the industry, hip hop, whether that's fan or artist, you knew Suge Knight actually got Tupac out of jail to come join Death Row. I mean, a casual would have known that so it doesn't seem plausible, but let me play a clip of what Faith had to say, and this is and then what Gene had to say in regards to her full response.
Oh, no, I ain't doing that. And I went to LA because this producer said he wanted to pay me to write songs for his group, which is who I was with in the club the night that I met Tupac when Tretch was with Tupac in the club. I was in LA because I was just trying to make money as a writer.
Now this makes sense. Okay.
And they was on the Bad Boy tour.
So Pac was in the club with Tretch. Tretch is from Jersey.
That's how they met.
Right, I knew Tretch from Jersey. He used to be at Red House. So he was the one like, yo, my boy Pac want to meet you, da-da-da. We were just on everything, just talking about this like last night. But it's like, nigga, you know me, if Big would have, I told Big I met Pac. Like I would avoid Big's call sometime to that producer's house that I was working with, just on my little bullshit, we did dumb shit. But then this time I took it. I was happy to tell him because I knew, like, Big did not want to believe that. I didn't know Pac, but I knew what he said about him and how he felt about him.
Right.
And so when he even had an inkling of, like, at that time it wasn't confirmed like he really feel like that, but it was little shit. It wasn't no social, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I don't know if it was even so much direct shit at the time. It was, that article wasn't out, so I was happy. Like, yo, I met your boy Pac, and he told me he liked my music and wanted to do a song with me. I'm thinking, Big was, he ain't say don't do it. He's like, you gonna do it? I was like, yeah. I gave him Mark's number, told him how much it's gonna be.
And we say Mark Pitts.
Yeah, he was Big's manager, so after a certain point I let him be my manager. Because I didn't have a manager when I got signed. But it wasn't something that I was hiding. That's the point I'm making.
Right.
And my point was, if Big would have said don't do it, because we know Big wasn't on the guard, and he probably was a little confused. Like, I don't think that's true, because there's no way he could think that.
But you understood how he tried to use you as a casualty of the war.
Absolutely, and not only him, but the thing is, at that time, I didn't even know the the bigger situation. When I went to the studio with Pac, I didn't know he was signed to Death Row. I was on stage with Puff at that Source Awards when Suge said that.
Wow.
I was there on stage, but I didn't know
what
about that. I was on stage. I didn't know what the hell he was talking about. I had on like a champagne colored silk suit, Chris Webber, me and Puff.
Yeah.
I was clapping. I didn't know what I was confused and clapping at I didn't know what was going on. And even when I went in the studio, until I walked in the studio, I didn't know Pac was signed to Death Row.
Right.
Like I immediately was like, oh shit. Like I knew other people from just whatever I seen in the media. I saw probably I don't remember, maybe a Danny Boy, Corrupt was there. You know what I mean? But I just started being the cool person I am, smoking with everybody, you know.
Yep.
I'm gonna get this hook done, but I felt a little weird because I just didn't know he was on Death Row.
Right.
And I knew that this guy who runs this label had just said some shit about the person that runs my label.
Right.
Even though I didn't know where it was coming from. And I didn't know where it was coming from for even years after that, even for a few years after that, you know?
Wow.
Like there's a whole backstory to all that has nothing to do with Big or Tupac. You know what I'm saying? So
that at that time when Pac did the Vibe magazine thing, that Pac wasn't digging Biggie. When he came home, the whole 9 yards. He wasn't effing with Biggie. Everybody knew that from the interview he gave from prison, which he tried to blame them. You know what I'm saying? Now, what I didn't understand was Biggie said I could go ahead and do the song with him. So at that time, when he was telling you he would do the song with him, he never said, you know that nigga on Death Row, right? Because she said when she got to the studio, she didn't even know he was on Death Row. So if that was an issue, him being on Death Row, and you beefing with my man, Death Row is beefing with my man, why wouldn't I turn around and go out the door? My husband, as she said, my husband knew. So if that was an issue with the Death Row thing, so why you just say, yo, Pop, or I left something downstairs and just leave and get away from that? If she want that to be her story and believe that, I can't change it, you can't change it, nobody can change it. That's Faith's story. But the public is looking at her with the Biggie eye. Like, Faith, nah, that don't sound like Big would say that. You know what I'm saying? Because he had a big problem with that. He had a big problem with Dude. And I know he had a problem with Dude because I was there when he grabbed Faith up over Dude.